Climate crisis, it's not an abstract theory. It's happening in real time right here at home. That's why all day the First Alert weather team has been sharing stories about how climate change impacts our daily lives.
As more snow begins to fall on the snowy mountaintops we all know and love, that could soon be a thing of the past. Chris Crocker here to share how one local mountain climber is worried about what he's seeing.
Well, from the summit of Mount Everest to the Columbia Icefield, John Roskelley has spent his life seeking out some of the snowiest, iciest, and most treacherous places on the planet. The pioneering mountain climber, conservationist, and Shadle Park graduate has seen firsthand some of the most dramatic impacts of climate change in the wintry playgrounds that he loves.
I think Mount Spokane's going to be the prime example as we go through 10 years, 20 years.
We stopped in to visit with John Roskelley at his home on the Piome Prairie. It has a beautiful view of Mount Spokane, which is uncharacteristically brown on this mid-November day.
They predict that lower level ski areas will have to close or open later and close sooner because as we get warmer, there's going to be more rain at altitude and less snow, and so these things will close.
Roskelley says many of the sacred spots he scaled over almost 6 decades of mountaineering have fallen victim to a warming planet.
Canada is the perfect example of climate change because you have all these glaciers in the Canadian Rockies, and throughout those 57 years I've been climbing, I've seen those glaciers disappear, and they're completely gone now.
Roskelley shared this photo of Oregon's Mount Hood, a peak that used to be covered with glacial ice year-round, but is now almost bare in the summer. He says there's no doubt that what's happening is more than the natural climate variations of our planet.
That's something I learned in my geology classes at WSU in the 70s. That, yes, the Earth warms and cools at various times. I mean, that's why we had ice ages. But what we're doing in the papers that he presented me was accelerating that heating of the Earth.
Roskelley and his daughter Jordan took an emotional trip to the village of Lata in northern India 37 years after his historic 1976 summit of *The. The glacial ice is disappearing fast from the mountain, and it's taking a toll on the way of life for the vulnerable population in the village.
I mean, we have the resources to change. We can put in solar panels. We can put in windmills. We can change the way our turbines work on hydroelectric dams. But in India, that's not the case. They cannot do that. We can all do our own little part, but somehow we have to bring everybody into it. And it's a global issue. It's not just the United States issue. It's just not Republicans and Democrats. It's everyone.
The lifelong conservationist says getting other people to acknowledge the problem and getting them to take action might be the steepest climb of them all.
Why don't we all agree that we want to save this? I mean, look at what's at stake.
That is a difficult question to answer for anyone. I personally speaking, I don't know why they wouldn't see that. And to think that we're dirtying our own nest. We're just our own worst enemies.
Thank you for that story, Chris. All day, the First Alert weather team has been sharing about how the climate crisis is affecting us in the inland Northwest. Meteorologist Matt Gray told us about how scientists who are working to adapt forests to the increasing number of wildfires. And Mark Peterson explaining how the climate is affecting the food we put on our dinner tables.